Sources are revealing a move that could change everything for the Eagles, my friend. A name that exploded at the NFL Combine is being pointed directly at Philadelphia. And ESPN insider Dan Graziano believes Howie Roseman is about to open the vault to get this deal done. $30 million on the line. You're going to want to know who this player is before everyone starts talking. I'm going to break down who this cornerback is, what he's done on the field, what the numbers show, and why this makes complete sense for the Eagles right now. But first, if you're a die-hard Eagles fan, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel right now because free agency opens on Monday and the news is going to come fast and hard. You can't afford to miss any of it. Let's get into it. With the 2026 free agency period knocking on the door, the Philadelphia Eagles are entering this offseason carrying a clear and urgent need at the cornerback position. The season left scars at that spot. The team tried to move during the year. They went after Jair Alexander, brought in Michael Carter II, and put in a waiver claim for Darius Slay. But nothing stuck the way the front office wanted. Alexander walked away from football altogether. Slay ended up with the Buffalo Bills. And Adoree Jackson, who did solid work as the team's number 2 outside corner, is now officially heading to the open market. It's in this landscape of real need that Howie Roseman has to act. And the name that's been dominating the backroom conversations is one that many fans may not know well yet, but is about to become one of the most sought-after names in free agency. That name is Montaric Brown. Before we get into who Brown is, it's important to understand the cornerback market in this free agency cycle. The big names available are Jamel Dean, Jaylen Watson, and Tariq Woolen, and all of them are coming to market with price tags that simply don't fit the Eagles' budget right now. Watson, formerly of the Kansas City Chiefs, is projected to land somewhere around $45 million over 3 years. Dean, coming off a historic season with Tampa Bay, is expected to close in the range of $27 million over 2 years. And Woolen, despite losing his starting role in Seattle, will still attract strong offers thanks to his athleticism and upside. For the Eagles, sitting at just over $12 million in cap space, those names just don't make financial sense. That's where the logic behind Graziano's projection comes in. And that's where Montaric Brown becomes the perfect piece for this moment. A 26-year-old cornerback, Montaric Brown spent the last 4 seasons with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and according to ESPN insider Dan Graziano's projection, his next destination could be exactly Philadelphia. Graziano projected that the Eagles will sign Brown to a 3-year, $30 million deal with $15 million guaranteed. $30 million for a 26-year-old cornerback who walked into the Combine as one of the most talked-about names of the week. That's not a coincidence, my friend, but what exactly does Montaric Brown bring to justify that kind of interest? Let's talk numbers because the numbers tell the story. In the 2025 season, Brown played in 15 games for the Jacksonville Jaguars, starting 12 of them. He finished the year with 2 interceptions, 12 passes defended, and 51 total tackles. Now here's the most impressive part. Opposing quarterbacks completed just 55.9% of their passes when targeting Brown across 68 targets. 55.9%. That is dominance. And on top of that, he allowed only 3 touchdowns in coverage all season, and the passer rating of quarterbacks who dared to throw his way was just 74.3. For those who don't know, a QB rating below 80 in coverage is a clear sign that the cornerback is doing his job at a high level. Over 4 seasons in the NFL, Brown has accumulated 29 starts across 52 games played. A cornerback with real experience, legitimate coverage skills, and age right in the sweet spot. 26 years old, prime of his career, my friend. Not a worn-down veteran, and not an unproven rookie. Now let's put those numbers in perspective against the market itself. Jaylen Watson, the most hyped cornerback in this free agency class, didn't allow a single touchdown in coverage all season long with the Kansas City Chiefs. Elite performance, no question about it. But Watson is going to cost nearly double what Brown is asking for. Jamel Dean, out of Tampa Bay, posted the best passer rating against in the entire NFL at an absurd 46.9. But Dean is turning 30 next season and is at the tail end of his contract window. Tariq Woolen, meanwhile, has rare athleticism, but lost his starting job in Seattle and arrives on the market carrying real questions. Brown doesn't come with any of those asterisks. He's consistent, young, and produced on a Jaguars team that wasn't competing for anything, which makes that performance even more impressive. And that's where the equation really starts to make sense for the Eagles. Think about it. The team already has Cooper DeJean, who became an All-Pro out of the slot, and Quinyon Mitchell, who earned a Pro Bowl nod in 2026. The foundation of the secondary is locked in. The problem is the number 2 outside cornerback spot, the exact role Adoree Jackson filled in 2025, and that now sits empty. Montaric Brown fits that profile precisely. An outside cornerback who can limit yards and create turnovers without demanding the kind of massive contract that the elite names on the market command. And speaking of the market, Dan Graziano was surgical in his analysis. He framed Brown as the ideal option for teams that need coverage help, but are either unwilling or unable to spend at the Tariq Woolen, Jaylen Watson, or Jamel Dean end of the market. The Eagles fit that description perfectly. Over the cap has Philadelphia sitting at just over $12 million in salary cap space at this moment. $12 million. A $30 million contract doesn't just land in your lap. The Eagles would need to create space, potentially through restructures or strategic cuts, the kind of moves that Howie Roseman has shown time and time again he knows exactly how to execute. But can the Eagles actually make this work? That's the real question. With limited cap space, how far is Roseman willing to go to fill this hole on the roster before the market heats up and Brown lands somewhere else? Graziano was clear that Brown, riding his recent performance and the buzz he generated at the Combine, is going to attract interest from multiple teams. This is not a name that's going to sit around waiting. If the Eagles want to lock up this cornerback, they need to move fast. Free agency opens on Monday. The clock is ticking. Here's an important piece of the analysis. What makes Brown particularly valuable for this specific system? The Eagles under Nick Sirianni build a defense that relies on solid coverage on the outside to give the pass rush time to work. When you have an outside cornerback who can hold up in man coverage and also contribute with tackles in the open field, 51 on the year, remember, you give the defensive coordinator an extra weapon. Brown isn't just a coverage guy, he's a physical presence. And there's another detail that can't be overlooked: the age. $30 million over 3 years, with $15 million guaranteed for a 26-year-old who's just entering his prime. If this deal gets done, the Eagles would be paying for someone who can still grow within the system, not someone who's already peaked. That's smart investment. Exactly the kind of move Howie Roseman loves to make when everyone else is chasing the biggest names on the board. And here's the final argument that ties everything together. When you lay the numbers side by side, Montaric Brown's value proposition is hard to dismiss. Watson is going to cost $15 million per year. Dean, $13.5. Woolen will likely come in somewhere around $12 to $13 million annually given the competition. Brown comes in at $10 million per year on a 3-year deal, and he delivered defensive numbers that hold up right alongside the bigger names above him in the market hierarchy. For a team that needs to create cap space, that has other priorities on the roster, and that simply cannot get into a bidding war with the big spenders in the league, $10 million per year for an outside cornerback who held opposing passers to a 74.3 QB rating is a deal that makes all the sense in the world. The question isn't whether Brown is the best cornerback available. The question is he the best cornerback available for the Eagles right now? And everything points to yes. Of course, all of this is still projection. Dan Graziano made a well-reasoned prediction, but free agency is unpredictable. Another team could come in with a bigger offer. The Eagles could decide to go a different direction. The cap space could open up more or less, depending on what moves happen over the next several hours. But if it does come to pass, the signing of Montaric Brown would be a real, concrete upgrade for a position that was a headline concern throughout the entire 2025 season. What do you think, my friend? Should the Eagles go all in on Montaric Brown, or do you think they should look at other options in the cornerback market? Drop it in the comments below. I want to hear your take. And if you want to stay on top of every Eagles move as this free agency period heats up, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. There's a lot more coming. Fly Eagles, fly!